Muscular dystrophy is a group of over 30 genetic diseases that progressively weaken and deteriorate the muscles. As said by Hedge and Ankala, muscular dystrophy is a highly heterogeneous group of inherited neuromuscular disorders. Depending on the type of muscular dystrophy that you have, it can show up during childhood or later in your life. Personally, I have experienced the effects of muscular dystrophy since I was a child. I have two aunts that have this disease and have helped them in their everyday life all of my life. In my next few paragraphs, I will tell you about different types of muscular dystrophy from a medical and personal point of view. Muscular dystrophy is a genetic disease that affects every muscle of your body. For your child to have this disease, both parents must carry the genetic disorder. Not all of your children will necessarily have this disease because the more children you have, the more common it becomes. For example, my grandma has 5 daughters, and the only last 2 children have muscular dystrophy, and the youngest daughter is the weakest one. Myotonic or Steinhart's disease is the most common form of muscular dystrophy in adults. This disease affects men and women and normally shows up anywhere from early childhood to adulthood. In very rare cases, it can appear in newborns. The name of this disease refers to a symptom of prolonged spasms or the stiffening of muscles after being used. Although this disease affects the muscles, it also affects things such as your heart, eyes, and hormone-producing glands. People with this disease have a lower life expectancy. Limb-girdle appears in teens and young adults, affecting both men and women. This disease causes weakness beginning in the hips and moves to the shoulders, arms, and legs. Another common symptom of limb-girdle is back pain and irregular heartbeats. Within a 20-year span, walking can become difficult or even impossible. People that suffer with this disease normally live to middle age or late adulthood. Muscular dystrophy appears in all ages, but the age in which it occurs depends on the severity of the disease. Some types of muscular dystrophy only occur in men. Some people with this disease experience a normal lifespan with mild symptoms, while others experience severe muscle weakness and wasting, causing them to die in their late to early 20s. Various types of this disease affect over 50,000 Americans. Over the years, advances in medical care have given children with muscular dystrophy longer to live. In conclusion, there are many types of muscular dystrophy, but some are not as obvious as others physically. There are types that affect your whole entire body, and there are also some that only affect certain areas of your body. Muscular dystrophy can show up in your early childhood or later in adulthood. For example, when my 2 aunts were young children, they could walk. However, as they grew a few years older, they could no longer walk. They had to be pushed around in strollers and then eventually be transferred to an electric wheelchair. Most people today live a normal life, do not realize that other people around them are affected by many types of diseases. Too often we forget how hard others' lives can be. It is also very difficult for people like my aunts to find a somewhat affordable and accessible vehicle to be able to drive. Although times are changing and we think that it's easier for disabled people to get around, we should never fail to lend a helping hand when possible.